showtime.
We don't want these people to take their business to another place.
Dina Lady Lodge is rotten. To the core.
My lodge.
My rules.
When I said I didn't like to carry a rifle, didn't mean I didn't know how to use it.
Losing your temper is not gonna solve anything.
What's your problem? Is there nothing I can trust you with?
If I found a rhino horn, would that mean the owner's involved in poaching?
Bridge to Success, Bridge to Success, Bridge to Success podcast. Bridge to Success, Bridge to Success, Bridge to Success podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Bridge to Success podcast, hosted by Jeffrey Pearl. Welcome to Bridge to Success podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Pearl, and we have a special guest today. His name is BenjaminCowely, and he's with GravelRoadDistribution, coming from Cape Town, Africa. Mr. Crowley, would you like to give a further introduction?
Thanks, Jeffrey. I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, so I'm BenjaminCowely I'm the CEO of GravelRoadDistribution Group. We're an all-rights sales, distribution, and production company based in Cape Town, South Africa. I've been around this business has been around for about 10 years. I'm also one of the founding members of the company. We've had quite interesting journey over the last 10 years, actually starting in classic films, whereby we discovered some lost and forgotten African films in a wardrobe, and we digitally restored those, and then we started re-releasing those, and one film became 10, became 20, became 30. And eventually we were on 200, more than 200 films, of which we fully restored 52. Some have gone on to play at the MoMA in New York, Berlin International Film Festival. And these are all movies made during the apartheid era, so 70s and 80s in South Africa. And then over time, the business kind of matured and changed somewhat, that, we moved more and more away from the classic films into contemporary. As, more of our clients on the ground just started asking, well, do you have any other films? And so that's where we started working on independent movies and releasing them in the continent. So we release movies across the continent, starting, all the way in Nigeria, so West Africa, East Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, Zanzibar, all those areas over there, and then obviously South Africa. And last year in October, we diversified into production. So we're now starting to produce content. We've got a TV series that's been commissioned by one of the local broadcasters, a feature that's been commissioned by one of the local streaming services. All the while we continue to do distribution. And we're very excited because this year is also a big year, as we're taking a leap into the international market, which kind of brought us to you and Dynasty, whereby, we're now taking African content into North America. So we're looking after a number of films from Ghana and Nigeria, and TV shows from South Africa that we're trying to find homes for in North America.
That's great. So what got you into this sort of work?
Film, I'd like to say, it's kind of in my blood. Since when I can remember, I was always, my parents would put me in front of the television, and I just fell in love with it. I grew up in a country called Namibia, which is just north of South Africa. At the time, we only had one TV channel, or one TV station, one channel. So we only had TV between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. at night. And I kind of fell in love with the idea of movies and TV. And that's kind of been the one thing that I've been pursuing, and then went to high school in South Africa. And one day I walked past a film set, and I picked up some sandbags, and then the rest is kind of history. I just stuck And yeah, no regrets. Just love the film industry.
Yeah, it's very intriguing, the film industry, and everybody loves entertainment and seeing a great story. So far as, I guess, making films, what genre is it? A specific genre that you specialize in, or is it the full range?
Yeah, so the popular genres in our market are kind of your action, thriller, comedy. Comedy is always more affordable to produce. It doesn't have as many production values as similar to what an action film would need. So that's the easier go-to genre. Obviously drama, but unfortunately drama just doesn't sell at the moment. So, I think people have enough drama in their lives that they don't necessarily want to see it represented on the screen. So they're looking for those little forms of escapism, which is what the comedy can kind of deliver on. And obviously the thriller and the action is the other one, which they tend to deliver on. So we try to play in the I don't always enjoy using the word commercial space, but the viable space, where we know that we can appeal to a bigger audience, because at the end of the day we realize that what we do is a business. So if we're going to be investing either our own finances or a third party investor wants to put money into a movie, we need to make sure that at the end of the day they generate some sort of return, because that's how that ecosystem works. If we make money, they make money, we can make another one. Not put money in, lose all our money, well, that's the end of the industry. So we're very much focused in that realm.
Yeah, building a sustainable market, basically.
Correct.
Yeah, growing it, and then branching it out worldwide so everybody can enjoy filmmaking, different ideas, different genres of acting. The world can enjoy it coming from Africa, different countries. So is it difficult? Exactly. Being able to go to the different countries there in Africa to film? Is it
I think it's very much in certain parts of the continent, it's a bit like the Wild West. Industries are still, I'd say, in early stages. South Africa is a little bit more developed. Nigeria, many people know Nigeria for the Nollywood industry, that it's been there for decades. It's a different way of production. It's a different way of hustling compared to the US or to where Europe is. It's like pretty much anything goes, which has its pros and its cons. But with the introduction of your big streamers such as Netflix and Prime and now Disney, you're finding things becoming a little bit more formalized. Okay. And they're putting structures in place because they're kind of implementing those best practices. So it's changing the dynamic and the way that people make films, which in my opinion is a good thing, because, if we look at how we used to produce, you kind of break all the rules. Sometimes you're breaking the rules to the detriment of the people who are involved, so, you're shooting 18-hour a day. You're becoming reckless. People's lives are being affected negatively by what you are doing. Whereas once you start to apply some sort of structure around it, those things start to eliminate, and it actually becomes a proper career for people. It becomes that industry that is self-sustaining, and it's more like, I don't want to say a 9-to-5, but it's certainly closer to a 9-to-5 than what it was in the past. And obviously with that, when you look at the greater industry, you've got more production happening. It creates additional demand on equipment, facilities, and all the ancillary things that kind of get added into this big machine that we call movie making. All of those positive spin-offs, and right down to catering, extras, etc., etc. The multiplier effect across industry is starting to show some good promise. A little bit more in West Africa and South Africa, but fortunately with technology, we're seeing that a lot of the countries that were further behind, they're taking leaps and bounds in terms of getting. It's no longer a case that you have to have a 35mm camera. Shooting on film, you need a lab, you need film stock, you need all that sort of stuff. You've got people shooting smartly on smartphones, or small HD cameras where they can, with their home edit suite, create something quite amazing, which will find an audience. And obviously the more they create, the better they get at their craft, etc. But that's happening leaps and bounds. I always use the analogy is that we or Africa kind of leapfrogged from dial-up phones into cell phones. You know, there was nothing in between. It was like one day we were analog, you know, pretend, you know, and the next day technology switched on and it was adopted. And I think that's really exciting, you know, so the pace at which we can learn and the pace at which information becomes available to learn from also exponentially grow. I don't have to wait, you know, a year for a movie to be released and then try and learn how did they shoot that, etc. I can go to YouTube. What do they do? You know, cheap tricks, easy tricks, etc. You know, and that's great. The adoption is there.
Like in a matter of minutes, just like a little short music video. So you can just
Correct.
Or our movie might take a little while to upload, but it's up the same day within the next hour or two, and then you sharing and marketing it if you have a good following, you know, with other social media sites.
I think also the advantage of the technology is also to the point of the accessibility that you mentioned, where, you know, you can load something up and suddenly it's available to a world audience pretty much instantly. And we're seeing the same effect as now we're having quality films from the continent being exposed to global audiences. You know, so finally we're having a situation where stories are traveling out of the continent. Yes, predominantly we're still kind of appealing to a diaspora audience, but with this information sharing, non-diaspora audiences, wider audiences are getting exposure to these stories, and slowly realizing, hey, there's good product that's coming out of Africa. There's stories that are being told there that we haven't seen before. This is really good, you know, and that's the exciting time I think that we find ourselves in.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, for us, I know we were talking about streaming, because I know you're in the distribution, distributing content and actually helping do groundbreaking movies and getting it out there to the public worldwide, so they could get a taste of Africa, their talent and acting. So would you say that the OTT platform, which is the over-the-top platform, would that be a really big enhancement for the film industry?
Absolutely. You know, and it's giving access to markets that we never had before. And if I think back to when I first started this journey all those years back, 10 years ago, and I would go to the US on tours and try to speak to an acquisitions executive at a network, they wouldn't really even entertain my conversation. You know, it's like, oh, so you're from Africa? What do you have? And you know, you try and upsell something. Now it's turning into the other way around. Now those executives are phoning us and saying, what do you have? You know, because somehow, obviously, with Netflix, with the OTT services, etc., is that these films are finding audiences, and those audiences are starting to demand and talk to the other networks, etc. So it's like, well, hang on, we need to diversify in our product offering. There are other people there who are watching and who are wanting a different kind of content to what we're currently offering. So yeah, definitely made a massive difference.
With the cloud space itself, I mean, it's so massive for a lot of those platforms. So they need to get all the content they can to add because
exactly
they hold a lot of content. So I mean, they could really reach out to countries around the world, because they say some of those platforms like Netflix, I see the content from Africa. I watch a lot of African films. Europe, I think maybe Turkey.
Yeah, Turkish is a lot. Asian, South Korean.
It's almost like a movie buffet. You get a taste of everybody's flavor. So
yeah,
and creativity, because you know, I love the entertainment industry, so I love filmmaking. I love watching movies. It's like my pastime to sit back and watch a good movie, because I just like story. I like to hear storytelling or seeing film. So
yeah,
that is great. The OTT platform really makes this groundbreaking change from traditional TV, where, like I say, you got to have talent acquisition. They got this cedar film, and you got a million other films, so you might get looked over. So it's hard for you to really get in that spot to where everybody can view it. When OTT it opened up more doors.
Yeah, 100%.
So my understanding, you had an anniversary. Would you like to talk a little bit about the anniversary?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it's last year was our 10th year in operation. So it was a bit of a milestone, I think. I'd like to think if we're still doing this in 10 years, it means we must be doing something right.
Yeah.
We continue to employ people. We have got a good team. So it's not a one-man kind of show that kind of positions itself as a business. We do what we have to do, and the future for us, I think, looks very bright. And I'm looking forward to the next 10 years. Maybe I'll get to retire then, but at that, I probably won't. I'm going to be that old guy who doesn't.
It's kind of like a singer. It's like, wow, I'll keep going. And they could retire, but it's just the drive, the love for it, the passion.
Exactly.
I can see that. I know this summer's going to be, you're going to probably do forever.
Yeah.
And that is great. Someone is telling you you are, and it's historic because you're actually bringing to the forefront to the world a lot of African films. We get an opportunity to see a lot of the culture through films, and just get a chance to enjoy, globally, and for you to distribute and making connections, establishing connections globally, using the OTT platforms, the resources out here to really bring their talent to everybody in the world to enjoy. I think that is great. And just for you to just take out the time and say, hey, I won't be selfish about this. Hey, I want to go to the different countries. And we're just going to do it on a massive scale for the whole country. I think that is really great drive. There's so much positivity. I think it's a very great success. And that's a success.
Thank you. And hopefully through what we're doing is that we're also creating more opportunities for local filmmakers. And when I say local filmmakers, I mean in the context of the greater continent, for them to get opportunities outside of the continent as well. They get that exposure. You find those gems. There's amazing filmmakers who just need a break. But to get that break, they need to get noticed. They need to get seen by somebody who can actually, be the catalyst for that break. And that's, I think, what one of the main drivers for me is going, there's a handful of filmmakers who we work with regularly, whose titles we've released. And it would be absolutely amazing for them to be able to go on and make a movie in Hollywood, or get Hollywood to make a movie in their country, that they can be at the helm,
That is great. So I was wondering, if people want to follow your movies or your distribution, is there any social media sites you'd like to share, or any way that they want to become a fan and just get a chance to just keep up with the track record? Is there any way that they can get in contact with you? Or
Absolutely. So we're on socials. So we've obviously Facebook is a big driver for us. So that's at GravelRoadDistribution, and then we're Instagram, Gravel Road Films. I believe we do also have TikTok. I'm not a social media person, so I don't even know how the hell TikTok works. But I'm told by the marketing team that we have TikTok. And then obviously our website, which is regularly updated, and then also on LinkedIn, certainly when it comes to, more business to business. So, often we get connected, or I get connected with filmmakers through LinkedIn who find me through networks, or just, connect the dots. Two things is, firstly, is that without the support of audiences such as yourselves, foreign audiences, what would be for us foreign audiences, international audiences, US audiences, actually supporting and consuming the titles that we release in those territories, on platforms like Freevee and Tubi, etc. Most of our movies are there. We need the support. That support goes a long way for people to be watching. Basically, it gives us more opportunity. And then in terms of some words of wisdom is, the hustle is difficult. It's challenging at times. It can break you. but tenacity really is the key thing, you know. And I think I've seen in my own personal career and my journey is, you know, there's a lot more downs than ups, but the ups are certainly worth it.
Yes.
And the one key thing is, one, obviously don't want to sound cliche, but it's the never give up, keep pushing, and never moan. I think that's a big one as well. Is, you know, we don't complain, you know, don't complain, don't bitch, just do, you know, get it done, you know, roll the punches, and success will find you, and you will find success. Take control.
That is great. That is great. And I'm going to adopt that philosophy. Tell them about any future projects coming out. You might want them to get opportunity to view.
We've got a show that's just gone live on Freevee, Amazon Freevee, called TheWild. It's actually a TV series, 208 episodes.
I sure thank you for coming on. And everyone, till next time, thank you for tuning in to Bridge Success Podcast. You can catch it on Dynasty Television Media Portal. Till next time, y'all have a great day.
Thank you.